Hey guys, welcome into Fantasy Football Academy 2020. As always, I am the Dean, your host. And look, news dropping late last night, about 8 o'clock Central for me. Leonard Fournette has found a home. Yes, that was quick. And he's off to Tampa. What can I say? He wanted to stay in Florida. Rumor was that New England wanted him. The Bucs were negotiating with him as soon as he cleared waivers. What Bruce Arians is doing in Tampa, I don't know. You went out in the draft and you got Vaughn. You have Ronald Jones, who you publicly went out and said is a workhorse 3-down back. Then you go get Leonard Fournette. Not only that, you sign him for less money than what he was looking for in the deal with Jacksonville. So I don't really understand the signing for fantasy owners of Leonard Fournette. It's still a wait and see. Okay, I know some of you out there going, oh my God, he's with TB12. He's him and Brady. Okay, hold on. Time out. Did you just hear what I said? They got Vaughn. They got Jones. Now they add in Fournette. Guess what, guys? It's 3 running backs. That's a running back committee, okay? Look, you don't have a starter. You don't have a backup. You don't have a third string. You've got 3 guys who could legitimately be starters, okay? Yes, Vaughn is a rookie, but look at the class he's coming out in. Moss, Swift, Taylor, Akers. Okay, all these guys are projected starters at some point in time during the season, okay? So, as always, wait and see. And look, if we didn't have a good reason to postpone drafts with the Leonard Fournette drop on Monday, the signing of Leonard Fournette is even more reason to postpone your drafts as much as possible. Now, with that being said, I was going to run down week 1 matchups today, but with all of this going on for the fantasy world, with all of the upheaval, with all the injuries, with people coming out and not naming starters, okay? And I say not naming, and I'm pointing at you, Matt Nagy, okay? Chicago has yet to name their starter. We had some clarification from 2 other teams. Ron Rivera in Washington has named Dwayne Haskins as his starter. Coach Lynn in LA with the Chargers has named Tyrod Taylor as his starter. Really, no surprise on either front. There's a projection out there that I saw on ESPN.com. That's one of the outlets that I go to along with the NFL app. There is a projection that is saying that Alex Smith will not make the 53-man roster. I think that's a huge mistake. If he is healthy, he is astronomically better than Kyle Allen, okay? For a backup, for a mentor. If there's someone that you can let go and not worry about. If you want to keep Kyle Allen, I get it. You brought him with you from Carolina. He's your boy. You know him. He knows the system. I get it. You want to hang on to him in case something happens to Haskins. But look, nobody thought that Alex Smith was going to be able to come back from this. Now that he's back, he's healthy, he's throwing, he looks good. I understand it's camp, but hey, coming back from an injury like that, at least just the energy that he would bring to that sideline, to that quarterback room, would be absolutely phenomenal. Okay, so I don't see why you don't hang on to him. I don't agree with the projection that Alex Smith doesn't make the team. I think it would be a huge travesty, like I said. So That being said, also we had Mohamed Sanu was informed by the Patriots that he will be cut, and this is 1 year after giving up a second rounder for Mohamed Sanu. Look, he's not that quick. He wasn't used that much. He wasn't used that effectively, let's put it that way. Does he still have talent? Maybe in the right system. I don't know. You could probably, you've got enough burners in Philly that you could probably bring Sanu in, and there's a laundry list of injuries for Philadelphia. So don't be surprised to see Mohamed Sanu find a home in Philly, because you've got Alshon Jeffries is still out and injury prone. You've got rookie Jalen Reagor. He's injured. Okay, so Zach Ertz is just climbing up the ladder here. Okay, Deshaun Jackson. Yes, he's healthy today, but he could bend over and pick up his keys that he dropped and pull a hamstring. So, we're just waiting for that one. So don't be surprised to find Mohamed Sanu on some kind of roster with those many injuries, okay? And maybe not Philly, but somebody who, maybe San Fran. San Fran has a plethora of injuries on the wide receiving core. I'm sure that after seeing this, my boy Chet is going to hit me up and be like, hey, we don't want Sanu. So we'll see how it goes. But with that said, we're going to postpone the week one until after the drafts this weekend. This weekend is probably the most popular weekend to get your draft in. It is the last weekend to get your draft in, and people have been, with this COVID world that we're living in right now, with all the uncertainty, people have pushed back their draft as far as they can. I myself will be drafting on Tuesday, the 8th at 6. We will be going live at some point in time for the draft. We'll probably kick it off with a live draft. We'll introduce you to all the players, introduce you to all my league mates, and so you can see who I'm drafting against. And I will be posting the results of that draft here and on Twitter. So make sure you follow me. Go down, subscribe, like, and share. Check me out on Twitter at FantasyDean20. Okay. What we're going to do today to try to get you as prepared as we can, we're going to run through a mock draft. That's right. We're doing mock draft Monday on a Thursday. I know. With all the craziness, I felt left out. I wanted to add to the craziness. I wanted to add to the mayhem. So we're going to have a mock draft Monday on a Thursday. It's crazy, I know. But we're going to walk you through. We're going to be picking from the 4th position. We're going to do a PPR league, which is what a lot of leagues have gone to. We will not be drafting a defense or a kicker in this one. We're just going to do the 6 bench spots along with the starting lineup of 1 quarterback, 2 receivers, 2 running backs, a tight end. Okay, so no defense, no kicker. Those are pretty much interchangeable. You really don't have to spend a whole lot of time thinking about it. Just pick a defense that's decent. Pick a kicker who's on a high-powered offense. It's not really brain surgery on this, okay, guys? You really don't have to spend a lot of time on it. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. And as always, you guys know what time it is. It is time to thank our sponsor of the show, Zia of Lafayette. Zia, of course, is going to be sponsoring the draft. We're going to be having it on site at the draft or at the restaurant. They have a back room for us. It's all sectioned off. So it's awesome. We appreciate them. They're on Doucette Road right behind the Grand Theater in Lafayette, Louisiana. So if you're in town, go check them out. You can reach them at 406-0013. They have awesome menu available. They still have family bundles available starting at $35. Go get you some grits, get you some rotisserie food. They have hummus. If you love hummus, they have a Mediterranean hummus that's out of this world. Okay, so check them out. Tell them the Dean sent you. I would love to hear from you. So here we go. We're gonna push it back to the 5th spot. I've done the 4th a lot. I really haven't done a whole lot of 5th. We're going to go from a 12-man league. Now, my league is going to be drafting 10, but the majority of you have a 12-man league. So I'm here for you guys. We're going to get into a 12-man league drafting from the 5th spot because there's a lot of decisions to be made at the 5th spot. And I'll show you what I'm talking about when we get into it, okay? Position values, everything's normal. I haven't done any customization on that. There is no time clock, so let's go ahead and kick this off. I also like to thank the other sponsor of the show, Keller's Bakery. Keller's Bakery, find them on Facebook. Go check them out. They are absolutely awesome, phenomenal pastries, desserts, anything you want that's sweet, they have it. And if you go down and you say the Dean sent you, 2 free cookies, guys. Look, they have cookies you haven't even heard of, all right? Go down, check them out. Check them out on Facebook. They do take orders through their Facebook page. Check them out. They are on 627 Youngsville Highway, okay? So here's what I'm talking about. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I see, oh, by the way, I don't know if I mentioned it or not, this is, I believe I said it, this is a PPR, so you're going to see a lot of receivers going early, and you see Alvin Kamara going number 2. Look, with everything going on, yes, Kamara is back in Saints camp. He's basically doing the negotiating in public through his agent. Can't blame him. He wants a new deal. Joe Mixon just got paid. Fournette he signed that 1-year prove-it deal with Tampa. Alvin Kamara deserves to get paid. Okay, so anybody with the Saints organization, if you see this by any means, please pay the man and let's get this over with. Last report that I heard, they're not too far off on numbers, but you guys know how this is going to go. It's going to go down to the wire. So check it out. Keep an eye on it. I would not have Alvin Kamara as my number 2. Now, this does lead to some very interesting decisions. Normally, if you don't have any kind of prejudice against any team, that's great. I do. At this spot, I would recommend that you take Zeke Elliott. Him falling to the 5th is just way too good to pass up. You see that he is 96% expert recommended, okay? Here's the thing, and I want you guys to remember this going into your home redrafts, going into your home keeper leagues. The guys that you're drafting against are not experts. They have prejudice. They have, people who they don't want to draft. And yeah, experts go out and they say those things, but if you look at their draft, they sit there and they do exactly the same thing that I'm doing right now. They're looking at Zeke going, man, how can I pass up on Zeke? I can't pass up on Zeke. Yeah, I'm not really that excited, and I'd love to target someone else, but I know that if I pick Zeke, I'm going to lose out on Henry and Adams and Hilaire and all these guys. I get that, okay? So there might be some guy in your league who absolutely is a diehard Cowboys fan. If he has the number 1 overall pick, look, if he takes Zeke number 1, don't be surprised, okay? We had a guy, and you guys have seen him. I've talked about him. You love him. You know him. D-Money, my boy, been on the show with me before. He loves him some Saints. Last year, he drafted Drew Brees with the 6th overall pick in the 1st round, okay? Not something I recommend. You can get Brees in like the 10th. So, we've talked about that, so hopefully we won't see anything like that from him this year. But things like that happen in your home league. You're not drafting against experts here, guys. Okay, so this is going to be a do as I say, not as I do type moment. I'm going to go down here, and mock drafts exist so you can practice. Okay, let's go to the cheat sheets, and we're going to hide the drafted players. So I'm in the 5th spot. I can go so many different ways with this, it's not even funny. Since it is a PPR, I know that Hilaire is going to get a lot of work through the air, okay? So I'll go ahead and take Hilaire with my first. And right off the board, you see Zeke gone, Dalvin Cook, Josh Jacobs. We'll go ahead and pull up the draft board here and take a look. Now, here's the surprising thing is that you've got 6 wide receivers off the board in a PPR, okay? That shows you the level of importance of running backs, all right? So, sorry, got my defending champ checking in with me. For those of you who don't know, my wife is the defending champ. So, hi, honey. And also to let you know, we're doing this draft at 6:20 in the morning. So some of you aren't up yet, and just wanted to throw that out there because I'm breaking this before anybody else puts up any of their takes on any of the news about Fournette that has dropped, so that when you guys see this, you know that I'm giving you my honest, unbiased, untainted opinion about what's going on. I'm not taking opinions from other shows and just regurgitating them back at you. These are my honest to goodness thoughts about what's going on. So we look at this now. We see that the 10th spot, they went wide receiver, and we see that Tyreek Hill was his second one picked. Look, if I'm in that spot and I have it in my head that I'm going wide receiver, which is what I did last year, I'm not going to fault you for that, okay? I am going to caution you against it that deep, just for the simple fact that you're not going to have a top flight running back, okay? This guy could have had Julio Jones and Nick Chubb or Kenyon Drake or Miles Sanders. Could have had Aaron Jones. So, you know, he could have gone a lot of different ways with this. I'm kind of surprised to see Eckler go that high. You guys know I have a soft spot in my heart for awesome Eckler. But I wouldn't have a first round pick with him. If I was going to take Julio and I was going to go 2 wide receivers, I definitely would have said Julio and Devontae Adams, because there's so much volume in Green Bay and in Atlanta. That would just be a lockdown, and then you wouldn't have to pick another wide receiver until probably the 7th round. You could load up on, you could get a top flight, second tier quarterback. You could go ahead and get a couple of, secondary running backs. So I don't like the Tyreek Hill. As I said in my last episode that you guys saw, hopefully you saw, if you're down and bottom, subscribe, like, and share for me. But we talked about how Tyreek Hill has a tendency to have really big games and then go bye-bye. So we'll see how that goes. So let's pull up the cheat sheet. Now, this is what I'm talking about when it comes to the 5th spot in 12-man league. You have a lot of decisions to make. You're in a PPR. You've got a rookie, okay? Now, if you look at the running backs, you see that Aaron Jones, who has A.J. Dillon behind him, but we're not really sure how that's going to work out. James Conner, great. Love the pick. But is he really healthy? Don't know. Todd Gurley, again, injuries, age, usage, new team. Don't know how it's going to play out. Chris Carson, look, I've heard the reports about Pete Carroll absolutely going bananas about Chris Carson, praising him. That's not a shock. Okay? If Pete Carroll wakes up in the morning and has a really good piece of toast, that is going to be like the best piece of toast he's ever had, and he will tell everyone about it when it's just a piece of toast. All right? So all this praise, it's when coaches start talking negative that you need to pay attention. Okay? All of this pomp and circumstance and all this praise coming out of camp is just that. It's just fluff. It's coach speak. Weed through it, guys. Okay? Melvin Gordon, look, there's no way that Gordon's that high. And Lev Bell, there was rumor last year in Jets camp that he had lost a step. They're bringing in they traded for Baldridge from Miami to bring in, and it's, guys, I've said it before, I'll say it again. 5 words: Adam Gase, New York Jets. Look, lay off of Lev Bell. With that being said, you got a short turn to wait to come back for your pick, okay? But here's the thing. Kelsey and Kittle will not be there. I will guarantee you they will not be there. Mahomes is probably going to be gone. Jackson, maybe. So, second overall pick, if you're looking for a receiver in a PPR, you've already got a running back who's going to double as a wide receiver. Why not go ahead and lock down George Kittle? I know he's dealing with some hamstring soreness. It's not a pull. It's not a strain. He's just sore. Maybe he didn't stretch. Maybe they're protecting him. Until it gets worse, this guy is the only guy getting thrown to in San Fran. Okay, guys? Now, as I said, and we're going to look at this real quick, I told you guys, short turn, 3rd round, Kelsey's not going to be there. Mahomes, Jackson, not going to be there. Okay? So, Kittle, we're locked down for tight end. That means that we have later rounds to work on depth. Now, when I tell you about depth, that means that you have your starters, and then you have some guys that you can take flyers on. So if those starters don't pan out, then you got a backup plan. Okay, remember, you've always got to have a backup plan from the draft through the rest of the season, all right? Now, Kenny Golladay, Allen Robinson, DJ Moore, those guys are all gone because we're doing PPR. I will tell you right now, if we weren't doing PPR, Golladay and Robinson would be able to be had in the 3rd round. Okay, there's no reason to pay up to the 2nd round for them. They will be available in the 3rd round at the 5th pick. Okay, so let's check out our cheat sheets. We see on our roster here, we've got a running back. We've got a tight end who basically is a wide receiver. So what we're going to need to do here is we need to look at our running backs. Okay, now, in this mold right now, you can, because we're doing PPR, Mike Evans, Juju, Thielen, Beckham, maybe Woods and Cooper, that tier right there, that number 4 tier, will probably be really, really hit hard coming back around because we have a longer wait, okay? So with that longer wait, I'm going to go ahead. I'm perfectly fine down at the bottom here with having Cooper Kupp, Ridley available. A.J. Brown is perfectly acceptable to wait on. You still got McLaurin way down there. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take a guy, and I'm taking Connor. I know I said last round that there is some injury risk there, but he's young. He can work through it. Plus the fact that Mike Tomlin is one of those coaches, unlike in Philly with Doug Peterson. Peterson does not like workhorse running backs, okay? He just doesn't. These are things that you have to understand, that the coaches are the ones calling the plays. Yes, the players are running them, but you need to pay attention to who's calling the plays. Just like I've cautioned you about Stefanski going from Minnesota to Cleveland, that's going to affect Nick Chubb positively, because he concentrates on the run. Okay, so with having Nick Chubb being concentrated on the run in Cleveland through Stefanski, that's going to bode well for him. What it might not bode well for is Odell, Jarvis, Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt is probably the one piece that I would want if I miss out on taking Nick Chubb, which, unless you have probably let's say the 9th through the 12th pick in a 12-man league, you're not going to get Nick Chubb, because he's going to be gone first round or early in the second. We're taking James Conner. Let's see how hard that tier got hit. Now, like I said, that tier 4 was going to be hit hard, right? So tier 4 hit hard, and they even dipped into the tier 5. So we see Ridley and Brown, all those guys gone. Kupp gone. All these guys, just nothing but wide receivers, third and into the 4th. There's only three running backs taken, one of them being Leonard Fournette. Now, pump your brakes on Fournette, because if I'm not mistaken, he wasn't even being drafted that high when he was with Jacksonville. So let's go ahead and take a look at our wide receiver list. So down here, now, as this is going to be my first real wide receiver. So we'll go ahead. Now, since we're PPR, these are things that you have to understand: is who is a PPR machine? Who relies heavily on volume? Robert Woods, relying heavily on volume. Go ahead and take him. And we see right off the bat, all of these guys gone. Okay. Nothing but wide receivers taken after Robert Woods. Mark Ingram, Melvin Gordon, only 2 running backs. So it starts getting deeper, or starts getting a little shallow on the wide receivers in a PPR early. Okay. Some of these guys, if we're doing a regular, is not going to be there. Okay. But if you look at this team that we're building here, we've got your traditional running back with James Conner. Now, here's the thing. Big Ben loves to pass to his running back, so we're good there. We know that Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to get work in the passing game. We know that George Kittle is going to dominate in the passing game for San Fran, and we know that Robert Woods is going to get his volume. The only thing is that Kupp is usually the one scoring the touchdowns. Okay, so last year was kind of a fluke. I think Woods had maybe 2 touchdowns, so that's going to come up. So don't stress about that one. All right, guys. The 2 receivers that I really hoped had dropped was DK Metcalf and Terry McLaurin. DJ Shark, I don't know what's going on with Jacksonville. I think they're tanking for Trevor next year. Trevor Lawrence coming out of Clemson next year. I think that is going to be the number 1 overall pick, and Jacksonville is betting on that. They've decimated their defense. They went ahead and cut Fournette. They're relying on Gardner Minshew, a second-year quarterback, and there's basically nobody else left. Okay, yes, there's Chris Thompson. If you are looking for a replacement piece in your lineup. If somebody on your lineup already got hurt after you drafted, go out, get Chris Thompson. He's going to get a lot of work in Jacksonville because they don't have anybody else. So, cheat sheets. Now, I know that T.Y. Hilton is really intriguing here. I personally have a better selection a little later in the draft, and we'll hold that off and see if it comes true. See how late we can get that guy. So let's go down a little bit more. Let's see who we're looking for here. Check out our draft board. Okay, so we're gonna need now traditional wisdom here is gonna tell you to go ahead and take a wide receiver. However, you guys know how shallow the talent pool is, and there's a lot of volume left over in Houston. And let's go ahead, our wide receiver. We're going to take Tyler Boyd. Look, everybody is saying that Joe Burrow is going to blow up this year, that he's going to prove that he is who they thought he was, to borrow Denny Green's expression. You know, they are who we thought they were. So I'm good with Tyler Boyd on that one. Now, you see a lot of quarterbacks going off right here, okay, guys? And I've said before in drafts that if you want somebody, if you're targeting one of these second-tier quarterbacks, Watson, Wilson, Prescott, Allen, if you're Kyler Murray, I think that, yeah, Kyler went down here. If you're targeting these guys, look, if you want them, you're going to have to jump up and get them. So if I had wanted one of these guys, we would have foregone the David Johnson pick and went ahead and took a quarterback at that point. But we're a little low on wide receivers at the moment. You see that most everybody except for right here has 3 wide receivers at this point. The number 4 team actually has 4. And I think yes, that is it. So we are 1 step behind, but we make that up with having George Kittle. So we basically have 3 wide receivers as well. Okay. Plus the fact that we don't have to waste a pick later on with that. And I'm going to go ahead and take another guy who I spoke of earlier. I'm going to take Kareem Hunt because all the reports from camp in Cleveland are talking about him being used more in the passing game. And you guys see David Johnson going off in the 8th round. Okay, that's just crazy that because he's injured, he's going to fall. How far is he going to fall, and do you want to stash him? Okay, at the 7th round, 6th round is basically when you start getting into your bench players. So how do you decide when to start going after bench spots? Okay, look at it this way, and I'll map this out for you guys. Okay, if you've got 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, 1 quarterback for your starters, you're going to want to target your starters early, fill those spots. Okay, maybe not with the quarterback, because quarterback you see all these names here right now. You got Breeze, Stafford, Rodgers, Daniel Jones, Cam Newton, Big Ben, Jared Goff, Baker Mayfield. All those guys still available. I'm going to tell you right now, Phillip Rivers will be the number 1, or should be the number 1 streaming quarterback in fantasy for week 1. Okay, His matchup, let me see. Just so I don't misquote here. Let's scroll down, and just so you guys know, I keep this on my side. Oh, here we go. This is why I was saying this. I wanted to make sure. He's facing the Jags, week 1. Look, Marlon Mack, T.Y. Hilton, Paris Campbell, Philip Rivers, even Jack Doyle. All of these guys are going to have a absolutely crazy week 1. If you have a quarterback that has a really tough matchup week 1, like let's just say, let's look and see who's okay. Mayfield faces the Ravens. If you go out and if you believe in TB12, he's facing the Saints. Look, this is my advice if you're a TB12 owner, okay? If you're a TB12 owner and you don't feel comfortable with Brady facing the Saints out the gate, go ahead and stream. And I know it's crazy to stream early, but go ahead and stream Philip Rivers for that first week, okay? The Giants, if you are a believer in Daniel Jones and you take a flyer on him late, he's got the Steelers week 1. Minshew gets the Broncos. I'm sorry, not Minshew. Tannehill gets the Broncos. Drew Lock gets the Titans. If you're a believer in Drew Lock, Phil Rivers is going to be an amazing stream for your fantasy team week 1. All right, guys. And the Lions get the Bears. So I'll tell you right now, I'm targeting Stafford. I would love to get a hold of him. Let's check out our draft board or our receivers and see who we've got down here. Not really seeing. See how far down I have to go to see the guy I'm looking for. Oh, there he is. Like I said, Paris Campbell guys, but we are in the 8th round, a little early for that. Let's not get ahead of ourselves and lose our minds. You see Deontay Johnson gone. That's a good pickup. I like that. And we've basically got 3 non-position wide receivers that basically put up wide receiver style numbers. So that's your cheat code right there, guys. Getting a player out of position that puts up another position's numbers. There's your cheat code. So let's see who we can snag here. And I know a lot of you out there may be looking at CeeDee Lamb thinking, he's the next coming of Megatron, but there's a lot of targets going on, okay? Jalen Reagor is going to fall. He's injured. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to take only rookie, or one of the only rookies that isn't hurt in Jalen or in Jerry Jeudy. You guys know I love me some Jerry Jeudy. And we see Kerryon gone there. Kerryon is gone basically because Swift is dinged up. And we see how far Chris Thompson is. He's 52nd in ranking. And we're using the ECR, that's expert consensus ranking. They take all of the experts, they put all their numbers together, and they spit out these rankings. That's how they come up with that. If you see ECR, that's what they're talking about, okay? Let's see. Check out our board. So we see we've got 1, 2, 3 wide receivers. We've got 4 running backs. Let's go ahead and see what we can do for wide receivers. Now, the Preston Williams is a very interesting pick. I was doing a mock draft with the wife a couple days ago. She picked up Preston Williams late. I really like that pick. N'Keal Harry is another one that I like, but that's going to be a really late flyer. I want to see how far Paris Campbell drops. Now, what we can do, let's take a look at the board real quick. Because we only have 13 rounds because we don't have a tight end, or we don't have a kicker or a defense at this point. Let's see. And I want to show you guys how sparse we're looking at running back. Okay. All of these guys, Jordan Howard, splitting time with Matt Breida. Philip Lindsay, splitting time with Melvin Gordon. Tevin Coleman, splitting time with Raheem Mostert. Marlon Mack has Jonathan Taylor right behind him. Antonio Gibson, Duke Johnson. Now, here's an interesting strategy that we can show right here. We're later in the draft. We're round 9. We can go get Marlon Mack, who is the presumed starter for Indy. Like I just said, week 1, he's going to have a monster game. Okay, they're facing Jacksonville. It's absolutely horrid defense. Okay, what we can do is this, is we can take Marlon Mack, week 1 performance, look at how they use Jonathan Taylor, if they use Jonathan Taylor, and go and use him as trade bait. So if you see Marlon Mack and then you see somebody who has a better player who maybe had a bad matchup, maybe they're in a bad situation, we don't know. But look around your league, see who you can kind of bait in to go ahead and giving them Marlon Mack, and they look at that week 1, because Sammy Watkins last year had a 46-point week 1. Then he just fell off the map. If you could have traded someone for Sammy Watkins, you could have literally been charged with theft. Okay, that's how bad that could have been. So let's go ahead down here. Let's check out our board real quick. Now we see Sony Michel. Look, guys, I'm laying off of New England running backs. We don't know what's going to happen. Antonio Gibson, I like that pick late. He would have been another one. He's going to be the starter. But look, I really don't like drafting for guys that I have to wait on. I don't want to wait on anybody. Okay, that's just me. I want guys that are going to perform now. Guys who I know their situation and I know what's going on. This is later in the draft. If you want to take a flyer, great. You have injury spots as well. You can go ahead and take those injury spots. If you want to draft a guy, and he went off the board here, Jalen Reagor went off the board, and that's great. And what you can do is you can take that and you can stash him on your IR. Then you can go pick up somebody who cleared waivers and pick them up on waivers after your draft. Okay. Let's check here. So we're pretty much done with running backs, so we can concentrate on wide receivers right now. And we see that Preston Williams has fallen. He's sitting here in the 10th. Let's see how much farther he's going to fall. And I want to go ahead and let's take Matt Stafford. So we snag Stafford. And I know you guys are probably sitting there going, but Dean, Drew Brees was there. You could have had Drew Brees. Yeah, I could have had Drew Brees, his 40-something-year-old self, and him missing 3 games. Okay. I also don't really want an Aaron Rodgers who's fighting with his head coach. I know he's pissed off, and a pissed off Aaron Rodgers is very dangerous. You can also have Big Ben, but you can probably get Big Ben after your draft. Amazingly, I don't know how that happens, but it does. Let's see. And I believe, let's see, did Paris Campbell already? Yes, Paris Campbell went right after we picked Matt Stafford. So I'll tell you what, let's go ahead, let's undo this, and let's see. And see, this is the great thing about doing mock drafts, especially on Fantasy Pros. Not a sponsor of the show, but I love you guys. You guys do awesome work. So we see Paris Campbell. Now, Paris Campbell was way down here. Why he got picked over all these guys, that's just the way that the computer went. So let's take Paris Campbell, and let's see if Matt Stafford falls. And he did. And here's the thing we're gonna show you real quick, and this is called reading your board. Okay, so we look up here. All of these other teams all have quarterbacks already. So if they're gonna pick another quarterback, it's just gonna be their backup. So they're not gonna stress about that. Okay, so if there's somebody later in the draft, like let's look back here at round 8. If I wanted any of these guys in round 8 over Jerry Jeudy, which I don't see anyone that went in round 8. If we weren't doing PPR, maybe I'd stash David Montgomery, but that's about it. But if you want somebody like that, look at your board. Look at who's drafted what. If somebody already has a tight end, they're not going to pick another one. If somebody's got a quarterback later and they need to load up on something else, look at what they already have, okay? These are things that are going to pay off come draft day, okay? So let's go ahead and we will take, I really don't see anybody that I can't do without. Take Matt Stafford and see who else falls. Now, Hayden Hurst, I like Hayden Hurst a lot. And and love me some Noah Fan. You guys already know this. So we see Cam Newton and Drew Brees go back to back. So if I hadn't picked Stafford, then they might have taken that. Aaron Rodgers was gone. So you've got 3 late round quarterbacks. 2 of them are backups. Okay. Let's see. Make sure this guy didn't draft 3. Nope. Okay. So another team, we see the number 8 team. Yeah, the number 8 team, smile for the Camara. They went back to back on their quarterbacks, which is perfectly fine that late in the draft. Now we've got 2 spots left. And you're basically doing what we call dart throws right now. So it's who you think. It could be somebody who's injured. It could be somebody who, you know, maybe isn't even in the league. And you guys know who I'm looking for. There he is. So Antonio Brown, look, this is one of those stash and see what happens type things. You guys, you see all of the injuries that are happening around the league because we don't have a preseason. These guys can't get hit like we want to get them ready for the season. So snag them, stash them. Speaking of stashing, we're going to make our last pick, Chris Thompson. And look, Chris Thompson's a good stash right now to see what happens. And you see, I got to be there. Like I've said before, that can be manipulated as long as you go along with the expert opinion. I could have gotten an A if I'd gone with the experts, but I didn't. So there you go. Now, once you guys, look here, I want you to look at the team I put together here for a PPR. Edwards-Helaire is going to get a lot of work. Robert Woods gets a ton of volume. Tyler Boyd, look, AJ Green's healthy. That's going to take some pressure off of Boyd. If AJ Green goes down, that's just going to add to Boyd's production. You know that John Ross is unreliable, and they're going to be seeing stack boxes because they're going to have a rookie quarterback. They already know that Joe Mixon is capable of burning defenses, so they're going to try to stop the run. What does that mean? That means that they're going to have to throw the ball. They're going to be forced to throw the ball. They're probably going to be going in a negative game script, and you guys are going to hear this a lot. Game scripting. Okay, what is game scripting? Game scripting is what happens when they call plays. They're going to it's basically their game plan. Okay, so you have some players out there that can be scripted out, and you have to be careful of that. Guys like George Kittle, guys like CMC, guys like Saquon Barkley. These are guys who cannot be scripted out. They are way too valuable, and they are the focal point of the offense. Whereas guys like, let's say, you have on KC, Tyreek Hill. If he doesn't catch a ball, that's perfectly fine. KC is not going to suffer. You will, because you started him and you didn't listen to me. So I'm sorry, I can't take responsibility for that. David Johnson. Can David Johnson be scripted out? He can, but there's really nobody else behind him to take the carries like he can, okay? There's Duke Johnson back there, but I'll take David Johnson over Duke Johnson any day, okay? So is it possible? Yes. Marlon Mack is another one. Paris Campbell is another one, but these are all guys that I'm not relying on. The only reason that I picked up Marlon Mack and Paris Campbell is for week 1. So I'm going to take probably Marlon Mack, and I'll probably start him in my flex spot over David Johnson because David Johnson gets the Chiefs, and I want to see what happens with that, okay? I don't like the matchup that Kareem Hunt has in the first week, and I want to see how he gets used there as well, okay? I already know how they're going to use Marlon Mack. I'm comfortable with that. I can use him as a flex, and I already have 2 solid running backs in Edwards-Helaire and James Conner, okay? Jerry Jeudy's another one. You can wait and see. Chris Thompson, another one. Wait and see. One of these guys, if they get hurt, boom, they go on IR. I can stash them there, and I still have room for Antonio Brown later on, okay? I want to roll back up real quick. Hey, guys, remember, we did a PPR. So all of these wide receivers that you're seeing here going this early is all because of the setup, okay? So we see team 12 here. They went wide receiver, and then basically everybody else except me went wide receiver here, wide receiver. We went 3 wide receivers deep here. Again, second and third round, third through the 5th. I didn't have to because I had 1, 2, 4 wide receivers by the 6th round, but only 2 of them were positional. Okay. So I'm perfectly comfortable with that. If you look down here, the first team, and this is something that you can do here as well. We talked about positional advantage players. If you're in a PPR and you want to target Mahomes or you want to target Jackson, that's fine. But you're going to have to take them early. So if you were at the turn early, you're at the back half of the second, first part of the third, then you can get a top flight running back that's locked down. You can go ahead and get either Kelsey or Kittle. You can go ahead and pick up Mahomes or Jackson because you don't have that long to wait. I personally, if you're a third, great. Third position, I think, could do a lot of damage. If you go and you take, I would take one of the tight ends second round, come back around like they did, and take Mahomes or Jackson the third. Okay, then you can just ball out and do whatever you want for the rest of the rounds because you're locked in for tight end, quarterback, which are some of your later rounds, and you can work on depth. Okay, so let's pull this down. All right, guys. So I hope that helped a little bit. Hit me up on Twitter with your draft questions. I'll be checking them frequently. And I hope I can help you guys in your draft. If I can, great. I would love to hear back from you guys after your draft. After I post mine, I want you guys actually, after your draft, I want to see all of your leagues. If you aren't comfortable with the team that you drafted, if you come out of your draft and you go, I can't believe that happened. I can't believe that I drafted this guy. What was I thinking? Hit me up. Let me help. I'm here for you guys, okay? Remember, when you go into the draft, trust your gut, and don't worry. We're just getting started, okay? So, for Fantasy Football Academy 2020, this has been the Dean. Remember, multiple sources for your information, not just one. You need a plethora of information coming at you so you can make good, informed decisions, all right? Remember, draft strong, mask up if you're going out, and we will see you guys next time on Fantasy Football Academy 2020.